Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I invite His Excellency Mr. Vincenzo de Luca, Ambassador of Italy to India, Embassy of Italy, to deliver the valedictory address of the 2023 edition of the Indo-Pacific Regional Dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving him a warm welcome.
Dhanyavad. And namaste. Vice Admiral Tarun Sobti, Vice Admiral Pradeep Chawan, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it's a pleasure to address this audience at the end of the Indo-Pacific Regional Dialogue in New Delhi. You convened here during the last 3 days under the overarching theme of the impact of geopolitics upon Indo-Pacific maritime trade and connectivity. There are many aspects of these topics: nodes of maritime connectivity, shipping and trade, private industry's role in the safety and security, and the rule-based order for a safe and secure Indo-Pacific. What I would like to add to your analysis is a view on the Indo-Pacific from a non-Indo-Pacific country with a long-standing maritime tradition. Geography is not an opinion for any country, and for our country. Italy has around 7,500 kilometers of coast and 58 ports. For Italy, as an export-oriented country, the free flow of trade through the Indo-Pacific is vital. I just want to mention that last year we had an export of more than 660 billion euro, with a percentage on GDP of around 37%. As you know, today, 40% of the European Union's foreign trade passes through the South China Sea and even more through the Indian Ocean. In the future, a system of high-speed submarine data cables will connect the European system, blue system, with the one in the Middle East and India, the Raman system. This cable is being carried out by 3 important companies: Google, the Italian Team Sparkle, and the Omanite mobile company. And at the G20 summit in New Delhi, the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC, was launched to create new opportunities from trade and investment. On that occasion, our Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, together with the President of the European Commission, President of France, Chancellor of Germany, President of the United States, and the leaders of the Gulf countries, Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia, signed this important agreement for launching the corridor. All this considered, Europe is and will continue to be deeply dependent on the security of sea lines of communication through the Indian Ocean. This is even more true for Italy, which looks at the Indo-Pacific from a very specific angle, that is the enlarged Mediterranean. The enlarged Mediterranean concept goes beyond the traditional borders of Mare Nostrum, how we call the Mediterranean Sea since the Roman period. Indeed, rather than a separate entity, the enlarged Mediterranean forms a geostrategic unit with the Indian Ocean through the Arab Sea, the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, from the Red Sea to Suez. Let us also not forget that a key role in this area is played by our African partners, who equally share the concern about piracy, illegal fishing, human trafficking along the sea routes. Starting from this point of view, Italy's foreign policy has been interested in the Indian Ocean for a long time and has invested in its security, especially that of the connecting areas between the two regions. This is why Italy is the second largest contributor to the European Union naval mission EUNAVFOR Atalanta in the Gulf of Aden, and European-led Maritime Situation Awareness Mission EMASOC in the Strait of Hormuz. More recently, Italy has stepped up its commitment towards the region by strongly endorsing the 7 priorities area of the European Union strategy for cooperation in the Indo-Pacific, which was released in September 21. Since 2020, Italy is also an Asian development partner and has increasingly geared up security cooperation with countries of the region such as Japan, Vietnam, and Indonesia. Against this background, it was only natural that in March 2023, during Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's state visit to India, the bilateral relationship between Italy and India was elevated to a strategic partnership. After that, things sped up, even to our own surprise. In August 23, the Italian patrol vessel ITS Morosini paid a port call in Mumbai, bringing a ship of the Italian Navy back to India after many years of absence, along with its exquisite technology. This visit is not a one-shot. As we expect, the school ship Vespucci next year again in Mumbai, and others may follow. On that occasion, we co-organized a seminar on maritime security with NMF, and I would again to thank NMF for the successful workshop, and the Western Naval Command of Indian Navy, which provide a great hospitality to our patrol vessel. In that occasion, we explored the synergies, both at the strategic and policy-making level, and with the relevant industries. Last October, as a concrete follow-up to the Prime Minister's joint declaration on the strategic partnership, our 2 defense ministers signed an agreement on defense cooperation and partnership to enhance the participation of Italian industry to the program under the umbrella and the framework of Make in India and Self-Reliance India. This agreement represents an indispensable legal framework for the development of more intense institutional and inter-armed force relations, especially in the naval sectors. We are confident that the consultation mechanism in place will soon be revived, leading to concrete initiatives in these areas. At the same time, the enhancement of the political and defense ties creates opportunity for more intensive collaboration in the industrial sector. And this partnership can also be focused on open innovation between the startup and small and medium-sized enterprise ecosystem, both in Italy and in India, as it was discussed during the visit of Minister of Foreign Affairs Jaishankar to Italy on the 2nd and 3rd of November. Last but not least, also maritime transport and port logistics offer many opportunities for collaborations, and we are working in the direction of partnership agreement between ports in Italy and in India. As our Deputy Minister of Infrastructure and Transport, Rixi, said on the occasion of the Global Maritime Forum in Mumbai last October. The Italian government envisages to strongly increase its investment in Italy capabilities as a maritime hub in the Mediterranean, both towards Europe and towards Northern Africa. Intermodal ports like Trieste and Genoa, which are the closest port to the important markets of Central Europe, both in France and in Germany and in Austria and in Northern Italy, can be ideal candidates for such connection, and also terminals of the IMEC corridor. Despite today's challenges, given the conflict in Israel and Palestine, we must not give up long-term projects such as the corridor, or allow that war further disrupt positive trade flows and connection along well-established value chain. I would also say that maybe the corridor could be part of a solution of the conflict in Middle East, because it offers opportunities and potential for further integration, collaboration, and projection of Middle East towards India and towards Europe. We not only share Indian concerns about the latest development and events in the Middle East and West Asia, but also a direct interest in a stable, a peaceful area between Lampedusa and Guarmoti, the southernmost point in Italy and the westernmost point in India. Recent events around the world dramatically show that peace cannot be taken for granted. It must be preserved, defended, and when necessary, restored. In today's increasingly complex, interdependent, and competitive world, no crisis is far away, nor leaves someone unaffected. This is why cooperation with like-minded and reliable partners becomes crucial, and confidence building becomes a best practice. Between Italy and India, we have gone a long way this year. For instance, Italy has joined the Indo-Pacific Ocean Initiative by Prime Minister Modi. We have appointed a liaison officer to the Information Fusion Cell of the Indian Ocean region in Gurgaon, thus increasing the information sharing between our two countries. Together, we can act as stabilizing powers in a troubled sea. As I believe peace is also made by people who decide to trust each other. But Italy and India are not enough. We need to connect more dots. Africa has to be part of the equation when we speak about an open and free Indo-Pacific. Until today, the African coast of the Indian Ocean remains largely dependent on the outside world for its own maritime security. Both Indians and Europeans are aware of the importance of Africa for a secure Indo-Pacific, and Africa is a pillar of the global South. Italy has put Africa at the center of its Mattei Plan. Enrico Mattei was the founder of ENI, who introduced a very innovative approach in the partnership with Africa, based on the ownership of the countries, on the corporate social responsibility, on long-term sustainable development, encompassing development as well as migration, energy, and security. Africa will also be an essential part of the Italian G7 agenda in 2024, as it was in the G20 agenda under Indian presidency. You know, next December, Italian will start our presidency of G7. This is also why Italy supported and supports the African Union's addition to the group of 20 during the Indian presidency. At the same time, we see that India is increasingly active, engaging with African countries and voices from the global south. Thus, Italy and India have shown openness in framing their foreign policy, and maybe this does not happen by chance. As two peninsulas with long coastline and important ports, with also a similar shape. We can see Himalaya and Alp and the end after the Deccan in India and Pianura Padana in Italy. I believe that we are intrinsically open countries, open to trade, to new ideas and other culture. Thanks to this openness, which entangles diversity, Italy and India have gifted the world masterpiece of innovation in art, literature, philosophy, science, engineering, and today also fashion and design. Openness and diversity are therefore a precious legacy of the past, but also an asset for the future that contributes day by day to progress and development in both our countries. However, the interesting times we live in teach us that openness is also vulnerable and needs to be protected. It's in this shared awareness on risk and opportunities of connectivity and openness where I see the highest potential for our future endeavor between Italy and India. If we share the same assessment, let us share the way ahead. With this wish, I thank you for your attention, and I hope that this workshop will be a further step in the friendship between our two countries. Dhanyavad.